Welcome to Tuesday Table Talks. We are continuing our series of healing Black male and female relationships. This is part 3. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please do now. This episode is about dating. Last episode, we ended with David Brookfield beginning a discussion about what he doesn't personally care for in relationships. Enjoy this episode and stay tuned for the final episode on dating within our Healing Black Male and Female Relationships series. Love and light.
Talk about
I just what I don't personally care for, and it's not like I get mad about it. It's just a thing that doesn't rub me right. Is if I am talking to a woman who I know has had, she ain't a born again virgin, but you're trying to make me be the born again virgin winner.
Well, I'm glad you brought this up.
Yeah, but here we go.
Yeah.
I don't care for that thought process. Look, I'm not trying to tell you, you can do what you want to do.
Right, but that's not where I'm at.
But that's if we both know neither one of us are brand new to this, and especially if I kind of know you a little bit, and I know, Tommy, whatever his name was, Tommy didn't work that hard, and maybe you and Tommy had a thing, and Billy didn't work that hard, and you and Billy had a thing, and I'm not judging you on your past experiences with more than one person, but you can't then get me and go, well, you're a good guy, so you gotta wait.
Yeah.
I'm like, whoa, Billy, Tommy, and Freddie didn't have to wait at all.
You don't know.
Because I do know that. That's the problem.
Yes.
Well,
I do know that.
I mean, I'm with you on that. Like I said, I have no problem with judgment. It's sentencing.
Right.
And I look at that as a judgment because everybody does that. Because that determines how the sentencing is how you're going to deal with them based on that information.
Absolutely.
So the thing is everybody, like I said, everybody does that. Everybody does exactly what we're talking about right here. Everybody does that.
What they do? What exactly?
Everybody judges. I just everybody judges. I go back to that. I'm just gonna leave it there.
So, okay, let me just make sure I understand. So for you, if you're dating someone, I don't know how long, and I guess maybe you're getting, that's the whole point of dating, right? To get to know each other, get to know people. You're talking to this person for whatever reason, if they've been through something, they've decided to become, not just for you, that's just at that point in their life where they've decided to become celibate. So now, so this is a good point. So if you're dating and the conversation comes up, may not come up at the first date because people don't usually talk about that the first date unless that's what what's it called, Tinder or whatever. That's different. But it may come up later once you get to that type of topic, right? And then it comes, hey, I'm celibate. You don't have, sometimes people explain why, sometimes they don't. So at that point, you can just decide, hey, I respect that, but just let them know you don't want to date anymore after that. I think that's fair.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So that point is fair.
What I was trying to say too.
Okay, so that point is fair.
Yeah.
But don't go judging a woman. Now, David, you know me, so you already know where I'm going with this. So if a woman, for whatever reason, decides to Elizabeth #1 herself, and she was the born again virgin queen, right?
Okay, I'm sitting there like
Elizabeth I. Yes, Queen Elizabeth.
Okay.
So if you decide to, whatever reason, on a spiritual journey, whatever your reason is, you decide that you're going to just focus on you, and you don't want to have sex at this point. In the future, maybe with the right person, but you haven't crossed that bridge yet. But it seemed like, and the reason I'm really upset because the man, he who shall not be named, he brought that up. That's one of the first videos I saw of him, and he was chastising this woman because, and he was trying to shame her, saying because she had 2 kids, she should be giving it away. Excuse you, sir. You don't know what I've been through. It could be rape. It could be just because I don't want to, just because I need to cleanse or recalibrate.
Right.
I would tell you, why are you dating?
That's the first thing
that's my issue. I don't have an issue with you doing all those things because that's your body, that's your time, that's your mind, that's your peace. Yeah. But it sounds to me, for me, you're not in a space to be able to provide all the things that I'm looking for in someone who's dating. So I'm going to step away.
So that's what dating to you. So dating to you equals sex.
No.
That's essentially that's what you're saying.
The physical attraction is one of the first things we recognize in each other. I'm trying to see if you're more than that, but you can't also take that off the table and make me find out.
I'm not making you do anything.
But by virtue, you are. If you're asking me to keep dating you, but you're telling me there's certain things about you I cannot access until you're ready.
So dating is sex?
No, dating can include sex.
Okay, can. But
can you mind if I say something on this? I'll try to complete my thought with that. Is for guys, that is important.
Absolutely.
I'm just hands down.
Women it is too.
I know, but we come at it from two different angles a lot of times. It's like we're looking at this cup, and I'm seeing where it says Mantra Lotus, and on the other side, we're looking at the same cup, though. You know, for guys, that is an important part of it. And when you take that part off, then it's like, okay, part of the reason I am dating is that. If you take that off, then it's like, well, we will go, well, why are you out here dating? Like you said, okay, because when we see each other, it's based on an attraction. I don't know you, McCann of Paint, but I do know I'm physically attracted to you. So now you said, shut that part down, which was the initial thing that made me look at you. And now I got to figure out how to do something else with that energy. Now, there's nothing wrong with you saying, I don't do that. And so all of a sudden that person might say, well, okay, I'm going to back up from that. Or I might say, okay, well, I'm choosing to explore this with you, but I've got to figure out now how to turn that down when I'm around you. Because when I first met you, I was like, there, she hooked up. Okay, I mean, and then I got to figure out how to do something else with that energy. You're already there. And I'm assuming that this is what the normal date that everybody says they're going to have. And then when we talk to each other and you go, well, I'm not on that right now. And I say, yeah, I respect that. But now it changes how I've got to do something new because you've been on this journey for 6 months. It's like if you heard the starter pistol and you loop the track 3 times and I'm just hearing the starter pistol, and normally when people on the track, they run at the same time, but I don't realize you already looped it 3 times already, and so for a guy, it's like, oh, I got put on the brakes, but you already settled into that. So it's not saying that he's wrong or you're wrong. It's not about a right and wrong thing. It's like, I've got to go through a process to catch up to where you're at or not.
And for me, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So
no matter what the reasons are that you're choosing,
right.
That's where you are. But if you agree to a date with me, the norm is that there's a physical attraction. The norm.
So to piggy off that, so I'm back on this dating because I guess we probably need to dive deeper into that, what dating is for everybody. So for me, why would women be dating in this situation? So to be really transparent, I was celibate for years, like over a decade. Mm-hmm. So it was a conscious choice for several different reasons. I did not date, right? I did not date. I wasn't interested. Mm-hmm. I was on a journey, right? Mm-hmm. So if I do ever decide to date, it will be, okay, I'm just trying to actually see if I can even have, like if I'm attracted or if I'm going beyond with this, is this going to go anywhere? Mm-hmm. Trying to see who they are, right? Mm-hmm. Because I'm sapiosexual. So I'm trying to see, if... So why are you laughing at me? This is a serious conversation.
What is that, sapiosexual?
So that means... Yeah.
So I'm assuming.
No. So you're physically, like, you're attracted to knowledge.
Okay, I get that.
Intellect. Mm-hmm. That's really sexy to you.
Okay.
Intellectual beings. So if I'm going on a date to see if I click with this person, if there's anything more, I'm looking for deep connection. So that's my point, just to get to know someone, to see if there could possibly be anything. I'm not dating. That's why I'm saying to you guys, dating equals sex, because to me, dating equals I'm just trying to get to know you to see if that's even a possibility on the table.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, that's what I think dating is. Now, if you're in a relationship or it's exclusive, that's completely different. Right. But when you're dating, I'm thinking, oh, you're dating other people, and I don't want you dating other, that means you're different than other people. And that's not something that I would want to partake in. So that would be a reason why a woman would date who is celibate, maybe maybe she's ready to get back out there eventually, and she's trying to see who that lucky person might be. He or she that might have taken that journey.
All right. Well, I'm gonna add, being transparent. Before Kelly and I got together, I was celibate for 3.5 years, and during that time, I had a lot of first dates. So I think out of my first dates, I may have had a second date with someone, and then of course, immediately the question comes up of sex and how what will happen, or why should I continue, or why will we even think about being in a relationship if it can't go, to this extent? Well, I'm like, well, are you willing to be patient?
Yeah.
Can we see what other things that we can learn about each other? If that's, let's put that on the table first. So, and I think sometimes too, because celibacy is not like the norm, that a lot of the other party may try to see, just like, what can I do to make, to make, I want to be the one, what can I do to end this? Or, let's see what this really is, and then, and I think that's when you weed out the ones that are for you and the ones that are not.
It's definitely a test of character, I think.
It is, and it does. It's like immediately. Like I said, and maybe that's why, with the 10-minute dating thing, because it's like as soon as I would go meet somebody, I'm like, no, we good. All right. But then, like you said, it's a spiritual thing, or whatever the journey is that you're going, if whatever you're seeking, a higher consciousness or whatever that may be. For me, I needed to learn discernment, because I was picking the wrong partners. So I did not trust myself enough to go to bed with someone and not get, pulled in. Yeah. So I need to make sure that I was able to back away, and be able to protect myself and provide myself the security and make the right judgments and the choices. And if I wasn't, then it's like, oh no, you don't need to be nobody. This is exactly what you need. Keep your ass at home. Stay at home. Do something else. You good. Until I was ready.
Yes.
So, right.
What was that? It was a Steve Harveyism from his book. He had
think like him and act like
a woman, think like a man.
Something like that.
He had the girls doing, was it 30?
Yeah.
What was it? Do you remember?
It was 90 days.
90 days celibacy.
Well, I know guys who've done that, who've done the 90-day things themselves. And a woman be, crazy for the guy and losing her mind and putting hash marks on the calendar. For waiting on the 90th day. One guy I know is a little bit older than me. He told me to say that's what he was on. She couldn't believe it. Kind of like with your situation. It's like, and she's like, and why are we dating?
But the 90 days started during the process
she'd never
of the
been
relationship.
with a guy that did 90 days. So she'd never had that experience before. So I'll just say that guys, we usually grow up trying to be the ones to get you in the mood for it. So if you come from that background, and I think most of us do, then it's like, okay, I'm not doing the right thing in order for her to be in the mood. So if you come from that, and so if we don't do it, she goes, well, he must not be interested in me. If that is where you come from, then all of a sudden, when you say, we ain't doing nothing at all, and you're saying there ain't nothing you can do that's going to get me in the mood, you know what I'm saying? Yes. Then it's like, wait a minute, this is new.
That is different.
Right. And especially when that's what a lot of women have grown up with the expectation that that's what he's supposed to do. Then that's like, that's a polarity shift. You know what I'm saying? That's a polarity shift. And so, so if you've been entrained to think that way as a guy, then it's like, yeah, that's a lot of gear shifting going on.
Not technically though. But I wish more.
What's in your cup again? Yours is gone. Your cup is gone.
I wish more men experimented with that, because you really get to know people. Like when you take that off the table, it gives you some. David hates this whole conversation. I feel like, yeah, it's like instead of jumping right, and nothing wrong with jumping in, if that's what everybody wants to do. But I think more people need to take time to get to know each other before things get physical.
It does allow, different forms of communication. Mm-hmm. And I think we've had times where we've discussed or just had long spaces where it's like, nothing is happening, but he's working a lot or I'm working a lot, and so it's like we have to stay focused. And sometimes whatever it is, it's like if you have a certain mission, it's like, okay, look, we got to put this to the side right now because we have, stuff we got to do. That's more serious, it's like we got stuff we got to do. But then to switch it, because if he came to me like after all this time, I'm like, babe, I think I want to do the 90 days. Was, oh, really? I'm like, okay.
Why? That's what it would be. It would be why.
Why do you feel you need to do that? And I'm gonna listen, of course. And I'm gonna say, well, what the hell I'm gonna do for 90 days? So we'll be on the journey together. I guess.
But okay, you've been real quiet. You've been real quiet. Go ahead. Speak your piece.
Productive to say.
Nothing productive.
Nothing productive to add to the conversation.
Well, how do you feel about celibacy? I mean, how do you feel about? Do you understand it, or what's
it's
your
an individual right? It's an individual choice that I respect because it's your choice. Like I don't want anyone to do anything you don't want to do. That's worse than anything else, right? Mm-hmm. You have to want to do what we're going to do if we're going to be intimate.
Right.
And I want you to want it like similar to how I want it, right? Because if it feels one directional, that's not attractive either. I don't even want to be the one to quote unquote pull you out of your celibacy because that's a lot of weight for me to bear if this doesn't work out. Because you might feel scorned by the fact that you gave up something that you worked so hard for and it didn't work out for 20. So if I'm dating you and in the beginning of that conversation, we're going on dates, right? And you tell me, right? And you tell me I'm celibate. I might, if I'm not cool with going through that with you for a while, I'm going to step all the way away because it's a whole lot of responsibility you just gave me, right?
Did you view that way?
Different things.
No. That it was a lot of responsibility that was
if you're ready for the relationship to go where you want her to go and that's who you want to be with. But a lot of times being dates, because like you said, we're trying to figure out if we really like you more than just we physically like you, right? But if sometimes you meet somebody, you're like, no, you don't want. So you go ahead and do whatever you got to do, sweetheart. Take all the time you need. I'll be here as soon as you're ready to go ahead and do whatever. Sometimes you meet people, you're like, I like you a lot physically, and you're a cool person, but I don't necessarily, look, I used to say this, and it's going to sound crazy. But I used to say that the only people that fall in love, for the most part, are men. Women don't, right? Men fall in love, women don't, because typically if you equate it to the analogy of a trap and a hunter, right? Realistically, women are more the hunter than men are because your whole life, for the most part, maybe it's changing now, but whole life you think I want to be in a committed relationship. But men don't traditionally get taught that. We get taught play, be a boy, boys will be boys, and then when time is right, so you want to settle down, then you find you a good woman, Women are immediately told, don't let your man touch you, try to pick the right man, blah, 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 be selective, you are the gateway to sex, etc. So this dynamic is different. So if you look at this like it's a jungle out there, and the trap is the woman's relationship, quote unquote, because most men don't go out there going, I want to be in a long-term relationship with her because she's cute. We go, I like the way she looks. That's about as far as it goes at that point. I hope she's cool. I hope she's a nice person. I hope she ain't crazy. Right. So then we walking through the jungle with our head in the sky, and we like, oh, look at her. And then we go, and we in this trap. We're like, dang, I'm in a relationship with her. And she's like, yeah, you're in a relationship with me. And women, you can tell the difference because women usually, typically, making some assumptions here, like to go tell their friends they found a good man. Girl, what's going on with that guy you met? Girl, he is a good guy. I really like him. I hope he is the one. You ask guys that same question, you'll almost never hear a guy be like, I really like her. I hope she's the one. You never hear them like, man, she's real fun. I like hanging out with her. That's about it. Fast forward 6, 9, 10 months, a year later, one of your good buddies might be like, hey, you and girl been hanging out for a while. You love her? And here you go. Oh, damn, you know what? I don't want nobody else with her. she can get on my nerves. But I'm always around her. She really is down for me. We done been through some things. I guess so. How'd that happen? I fell in love. It's hard to fall in something you've been looking for, and most women are looking for love.
That's true.
So that's why I say
that's true.
That whole dynamic of that is, if I see that in you, fine. But I'm trying to figure out if I love you, or if I'm going to love you, if I even can love you. And you're taking things off the table to try to make me get to that point. What are you asking me to do? What are you asking me to try to love about you? That maybe I'm not willing, or I am willing. I'm not quite sure about that, because like you say, we're physical people. Men are very visual and physical. That's why we have the sex drive. That's why we have so much testosterone. We push for the sex all the time. But this has also been the forefront of why we have babies out here, why we procreate the world. If we waited on the majority of women to make the move and push the sex, it probably wouldn't be the same way it is. Men are always like, yes, 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 yes. Women are like, okay, okay. But men are like, yes, 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 right? For the most part, right? As you get older and you have more to offer, you start getting more selective, right? Because then you don't necessarily select because the woman pool is less or whatever, or you start going, I have assets that I don't want everyone to have access to. Resources.
Yep. How we allocate our resources changes.
So that's why you see men being selective when they start getting older. It's not like all of a sudden we came to this epiphany that we should be more selective like women. We covet something, and that's the resources, just like you guys covet your body and your spirituality and how that connects. Men don't necessarily typically do that at a young age. It's just kind of thrown out there. Yeah. And we're not taught that. We're not taught that our body is the same type of temple that your body is. It's just not. Yeah. At least not in American culture. I mean, I can't speak for every culture. Yeah.
That's a good point.
We a lot of times we're looking at how, if you're in a relationship, we're thinking about our resources, how we're basically giving you what we won't give to anybody else. And the only person we probably gave those type of resources to was probably family.
Absolutely.
And so that makes it special to us when we do that. Because it's just something we won't do for anybody else. We might do it for a week, but we're thinking years down. We're making plans like 4 and 5 and 10 year plans. We ain't doing that with you're not doing that with everybody.
To this point, I'm gonna ask you the questions that you all asked all the questions. So he who should not be named, Kevin Samuels, he would ask a similar question. Of the two, women first, what do you bring to the table? When you're dating a man for the first time and you're like, okay, here's what I bring to the table that is quality. The things about me that that's going to benefit you and enhance your life. What are those things?
Well, first of all, I'm not a cliche, but I'm from the show me state. So I'm not one for really just like talking. I'm going to show you through the dating process who I am and what I offer. So for you to ask me, I mean, I think I made a post today. No one knows everything. I mean, there's a lot about Tigra.
We do.
There's a lot about Tigra. Yes. So I can't really tell you, but I can show you. I mean, but okay, so let's say, okay, you want me to, I'm nice when I need to be.
Okay, so you're pleasant.
I'm kind. I'm patient, to a point.
All in the realm of pleasance.
Okay.
I'm with you. I like it.
I'm a listener. I'm a giver. I'm loving to the right people. I could go on, but again, it takes someone to know me. You could probably tell me more about me than I can tell you about me because I've showed. May not show you everything because we're friends, but you know what I mean? That's my point, though. I will show you more than I can tell you.
Would you consider yourself to be feminine?
I can be.
Would that be something you'd be offering someone dating you? Of course you can be, but this is a dating situation. So you're in the first date where you would be feminine.
Well, okay, so yeah, so I know. So what he's saying? Okay, we got somebody in the background, audience security. So basically, what he means by feminine, he's basically just saying, just think of the 1920s woman, right? Ooh. So you know what I'm saying? You know,
I've done it. I got something to say.
I wasn't born yet. I don't really know what that was like.
So we're talking about, you know, the typical, ladies lady. Lady like my grandmother never wore pants, so it depends on who you're talking to. So when he says feminine, he wants to know, probably you're gonna sit like a lady, you may, act like a lady, talk like a lady, walk like a lady. And again, we're just thinking, the classical term for lady or feminine.
I'll
And you
make
said
it.
you can be.
Yeah.
Yes.
Bring it.
What is masculine then?
So masculine to me, so it really just depends, especially nowadays. You could be acting butch. You could come in,
No, I mean in a man.
Oh, in a man.
Yes.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay.
Yeah, don't go to Rainbow.
Oh,
I'll throw some Skittles out here.
I don't know. Lipstick films.
Yeah.
Okay, so for me, so masculine for me, I guess I'm thinking more macho, and it's not necessarily something that I want. But when I think of masculine, I'm thinking Wolverine. He's the typical masculine man. The flannel, the flannel.
Hugh Jackman, the character.
No, Wolverine.
Of actual comic book character.
He got so fingers.
Okay, no, give me.
Let it go.
Yeah.
Yes, please. When I
Please
think,
let it go.
Yeah. I'm about to be like,
Oh, this is getting good.
oh my God. Here we
I
go.
got like 5 good shots.
Oh,
I'm
yes,
still
you do,
Wolverine.
boy.
I
It's
gotta let it-
loaded down. Oh my
gotta
God.
let him finish this one out.
And the audience is participating.
About to load the chamber, boy.
Yeah, buddy.
so when I think of a masculine, manly man, someone that I'm attracted, I'm just going to talk about what T would like. A masculine, manly man. Someone who is confident in themselves. They're confident, strong inside. And now I don't mean you can't, what I mean by strong. So again, when I think of Wolverine, I'm thinking of a lumberjack, someone who can take that axe, chop a tree, he's manly, that type of way. So that when I think of manly, that's what I'm like. He can pick me up, woman, calm down. Yes, sir. Okay. Right. So, I didn't open up a bag of worms, I feel like.
No, you good.
But no, when I think of masculine, that's what I like. I like a man who knows what he wants, who's confident. Yes. That's some of the things that I think about.
Okay.
When I think of a manly.
And so,
masculine.
I'm sorry, mantra.
No. This is
No, woman. He said he wants to know what you think of masculine.
Femininity and masculinity. Like, how would you, in your own terms, define those two things?
In my own terms, I would consider that I'm very feminine, yet I have masculine qualities that I can bring out and when needed, whatever those, may be. And so masculine qualities, I guess, in a sense, would be that I can control situations. I can revert situations, turn them around, I guess. That if anything, well, I don't know, it's kind of hard because when we think about physical things, so physically, masculine, like I do the lawn, I cut the grass, which I have no problem with. I can clean out gutters, I can put up drywall, I can do, other things, but I'm not necessarily sure if that's considered, like.
It's all what you think.
Yeah. Okay. But feminine, is a sense, I guess, the way that I think, the way I carry myself, the way I can walk in with, I don't know, it's such a duality to it. So I can wear a dress and then have weapons underneath or something. I don't, I don't know.
Okay.
Where are you going with this?
Oh, it's going somewhere. All right.
I just
I'm
know.
already.
Feminine.
I'm.
What is your definition of feminine?
And it is similar. I do feel like what feminine is that softer, nurturing, more effectual, a higher level of empathy in a very natural sense. I'm not saying men can't be empathetic, but typically of the feminine or female gender typically has that motherly or that empathetic built into that empathy built into them, where they can reach out to people in a different kind of way. They don't ask you to be hard. They don't try to protect. They just try to love. It comes a little bit differently, a little bit more naturally, right? It comes from the bosom and being able to bear babies, even if you can't, but it's still a natural tendency from you, right? That's ability to be a support, but also not want to have to be the physical and or mental lead at all times. When necessary, can do no problem, step up and do it better than anybody else, but likes to be the backbone of that while that other person does the thing. That's a feminine quality to me, because it's not a very masculine quality to me for a man to be like, I want to let my woman lead everything. That's not a natural masculine quality. Now, do some people's dynamics work like that? Absolutely, because I'm not here to judge your relationship if that works for you. But in most cases, what I've seen and talked to women like domineering, assertive, confident, strong, whatever that means to you, right? Those are the qualities most women associate with masculinity, right? And then, and so I don't. Where is he who should not be named wrong in what he says when he dictates that's what men should try to strive to be, and women should try to be that. You were talking about what you offer to a man, right? And I asked you what femininity is, and his 3 tenets were what most men would typically want. And you can wrap it around however you want and figure it out. Is the woman to be feminine, friendly, and fit, right? It's fairly simple. That is individualistically wrapped onto whoever you like. Fitness might be thick for one guy, might be super skinny for another. That's why he's attracted to you, right? Whatever he finds to be attractive. But for the most part, if you remove all the women out of the room for a minute and you bring in what to be a traditional beauty, most men are going to be like, yeah, she look good. No matter what I like big girls, like little girls, you bring in a traditional beauty, all men for the most part are going to be like, yeah, but she look good too, right? You also want that woman to be nice, to be easy to deal with. No, for me on dating apps, red flag, swipe left. If a woman says, I need a man that can deal with me, I don't want to deal with you. I want to talk to you. I want to build with you. I want to be with you, but I don't want to deal with you. That's crazy. What makes you think I want to go deal with the world, deal with my jobs and all that stuff, and then come home and then deal with you? That sounds like an extra job. And no person really is realistically should want to come home and deal with anything. We should be coming home to the peace. Right, I know this gets said a lot, and I think it may be some women potentially may take it as like a burden, like you should be his peace. But realistically, that's what a man is looking for, that nurturing, that friendliness, that I come home and she's like, hey, sweetheart, I know you out there doing what you got to do for us. He knows that too about you. Don't get that twisted. We know that you go deal with a world as a woman that we can't even imagine how hard it is for you. But our way of showing you is, if you need to step back, I got you. If you want to be weak, I'll be strong. If you need me to carry you and pick you up and be like, hey, woman, look at my claws, I got those, right? Whatever it is, as a man, I'll do that for you to let you know I care. What you need to do for me is be soft, right? That's why when men go home, they pillow talk with their woman. They don't do that with nobody else, right? That's why it hurts a man so much if a woman talks about what a man pillow talks about you, because then you lose his trust forever, because men don't talk to anybody. We talked about this on the last show. It's hard to get men to talk to other men. So when they find that in a woman and they can talk about things that are like sensitive to them, which is really weird for a guy, because we don't do it with each other, we need that from you. We need that softness. We can go hang out with our buddies. We need softness from you. Fit, friendly, feminine. That's it. So I don't see why those are problematic things. And those are things that I asked you, like I say, what do you bring to the table with that? That's an important piece. But that fit part, that ties into the sexuality piece. That's what most men are looking for. We got to figure out, like, if we already know that you're friendly and nice and you seem like a good person and you're feminine, so you fit that criteria. We don't care nothing about your money. It's nice if you have some, but we really, truly, if we're earners, we don't care about that. But we got to know that we can physically like you, because that sometimes is going to be the thing that gets us through our rough times with you, right? If I can look across the table and you getting on my last nerve, but damn, you look good in that dress. I'm going to get past the situation sometimes. And sometimes I might not look across the table and want to be physical with you, but I'm always going to be attracted to you because your beauty it gets deeper and deeper as I start to love you more, right? I start seeing things in you and your beauty that I didn't even know I could see in a woman. But it started off simply by, man, that's how men can compartmentalize beauty. Yeah. It's such a thing for us to do. We could take that and be like, she has beautiful eyes. I'm going to go on a date with her. That's it. That's all we need. We can hold on to that and keep going. But if you start taking stuff, you say, you can't see my eyes. I ain't ready for that. I was celibate. I'm gonna wear shades the whole time. One thing about you, the one thing about me that you really, really stood out about you, you can't have until I'm ready to let you have it. Well, I'm like, well, I'm not ready to date you then because you're not ready to date me on my terms either. And that's okay.
Yes, okay.
Right.
That's okay. But it's a wild thing to expect that I have to get past that. And like I said, I've met women in the dating realm that have been like, wow, that's shallow or that's petty of you to not honor my commitment. And I'm like, that's your commitment, sweetheart. Do you know you competing? Ladies, y'all competing. There's more than one woman out there.
That's
Matter of fact, you better presume that if you're dating a guy or you meet a guy who's handsome, got a lot of things going for him, he probably already got 2 or 3 girls pining to try to get with him. Just being realistic. I'm not trying to be mean or anything, but he's probably got a couple of women in his life for whatever the necessity is. So you're already competing whether you like it or not. Now you can get out the game, stay out the game as long as you like, or you can recognize if he's giving you time, it ain't solidified yet, unless he's cheating. That's different.
Yeah.
But if he's honest, right, you can ask him in the beginning where you said that last episode, hey, how many people are you seeing right now? Is it just me, or are you actively dating other people? And be honest, I'm not going to get mad. I just need to know where we are with this. If it's exclusivity, maybe we can do a little bit more. But he wants to know that too, because he wants to know why you want to know. If you didn't give me none, that ain't none of your business. That's her business. I'm just being honest with just how men think. If you don't want to know how men think, if you aren't a certain part of our life, you're not privy to that information. And he'll keep it from you for the most part. Some men will. All men won't do that. Some men will be just flat out with you, but for the most part, you can't get information that you're not privy to if you're not in that world. Why would I talk to my bank about casino money? It's not going. That ain't got nothing to do with you. That's a different account over here. You want some of that money, then you need to be a casino too. This is the way it works. That's how we do. We compartmentalize a lot of things in our lives.
I have 5 different things to say, and I'm trying to remember where to start. So I think the first thing you mentioned, not one of the first, but one of the things you mentioned was what's so wrong with what he said, that man. So it's the fact that, so you were saying that he said a woman should be. The woman shouldn't be anything. A woman should be what she wants to be. So there shouldn't be anybody telling a woman or a man what they should or shouldn't be. Now, like you said, some men like that. And if a woman happens to be that, that's fine. And so there's a lot of things of what he was wrong with what he was doing. Like, first of all, trying to tell somebody who they should be. Who are you to say? And second of all, they
called the show and they asked. But go ahead.
Okay. Okay, then fair enough. But we discussed this, his approach, the way he was talking, disrespectful, he's just out of pocket. So let's just take him off the table. So, right. So back to you swiping left. So you do know that when a woman says, I need a man who can deal with me, that's a hurt woman. That's someone who's been through some stuff. Absolutely. So not necessarily you, but just in general, I wish people wouldn't discard people right away. Like that, there's something inside that woman that just needs someone to understand, to listen, to understand, and to accept them. People should be accepted as they are, for who they are. Somebody gonna love that woman the way she is.
Can I know you had like 3 more.
I don't even know.
You did 2. Okay. The thing is, there's no right and wrong to this, but I hear what you're saying. When a woman says that, we think that's work.
Yeah. And
you've let me know that that's work. It's like if you said, I want to take this person seriously, and you say, okay, and they are $100,000 in debt. And you're like, I didn't know that. I'm attracted to them, but I'm taking them seriously now. If I yoke myself to them, I've got to deal with that debt. it goes into the same place. It doesn't mean that that person's a bad person. You might say, I want a person that's a runner, and that person doesn't run. So you said, well, I don't want somebody who's in debt because I'm trying to handle. I just got up out of debt. I ain't trying to go back there with somebody, and it doesn't make them, like I said, that you caught them where they were at, not necessarily where you want them to be. And they might get there 5 years later, but that doesn't mean that person sits there in the corner and waits for 5 years. For you to get there, and you could say the same thing about them on certain things. Say, well, they ain't there yet, I mean, there's, like I said, when you see each other, we're attracted to each other. That ain't got nothing to do with money. Ain't got nothing to do with money. There's plenty of poor folks making babies. Okay, but after that, you start seeing all these other things you got to throw in, and you say, can I handle that? Do I want to handle that? How can I handle that? That kind of thing. And that will be a thing that adds some weight to the relationship, because the attraction, there was no weight.
I don't even think it's a relationship. That's dating at that point. So that's great to find out when. That's why people should take that time and date before you dive into anything else to see, like, before you waste your time or anything.
What does that mean, waste your time?
Well, now that's...
Yeah, I don't see it as a waste of time.
It depends. Yeah, because I think I mentioned this to you as well. It's like, I would think it would be wasting someone's time. So I guess it really just depends. I would feel like I was wasting someone's time if I knew that if I know I'm in love with somebody and I try to, for whatever reason, I'm trying to move on and I go on a date and then, they start liking me or falling in love with me. Of course, I'm keeping it. But and then the love of my life comes back like, hey, I'm ready for you. And I'd be like, oh, you know what? I'm sorry. I gotta go. I feel like I wasted that person's time. So that's why I say that. I would feel like I wasted their time.
But to that degree, and I know, like I said, it can sound shallow if it wants to. I'm fine with that. I'll wear that badge if that's the case. But I also look at that from a physical standpoint too. I'm not saying there's a design time, like 2 weeks, you got to give me something. That's ridiculous. But if we both are obviously in that mood and I see you pulling back because you're trying to make something more of something because you think that's going to make it better, then we wait 6 months and it's garbage. Did we not waste time? If we aren't physically compatible in that place after 9 months of dating, did we not waste all this other time becoming good, cool people with each other if we're not going to go any further than this? If you leave that room and go, wow, that was disappointing, what are you going to do from there? You're going to keep trying?
I actually really do agree with that. Honestly, surprisingly, I agree with that because I was never in my mind the person was like, oh, I'm going to wait till marriage. I never thought that because for that same reason, why? I don't know if you want to, that's on you. But why would you? I would not want to get married, have that oath, and then death do us part be the next day. You know what I'm saying? And it's yes, I understand. That's a different person. I never thought about that.
This is all. I think it comes from a place of someone trying to take back some moves that they maybe feel like they made wrongly in the past, and like say they meet the quote unquote good guy after however many bad guys they've had, whatever that number is, 1, 2, too many, whatever. And they're like, oh, this guy's a quality guy. I want him to respect me, so I'm going to make him wait.
That's not necessarily the reason that they're doing it, though. You see what I'm saying? Celibacy isn't just to punish you or has anything to do with you or any man. But I understand what you're saying. Now, I do understand what you're saying. That being said, so if you're in a dating situation, that conversation needs to happen up front. And you can just go on about your merry ways until you're ready. So that makes sense. I see how that would. But a lot of people waste their time in general.
I was gonna say, I'd like to interject. Do you think that we're missing the point of making it harder than what it is? By putting all of it, by putting certain expectations, number one. Even though, we have certain preferences, we have ways of what we're, things that we're attracted to and what we are not. But I think when we put, all these certain expectations of how things should be, this should be that, or this should be that, then we
lose some of the chemistry. Because even, and just as for example, even though I was celibate for that amount of time, as soon as we got together, celibacy was not on my.
Because he was the one for you. That you felt that in your. Yes.
I felt that, but
Yes.
it was. I was still considered myself celibate. I still did not necessarily. I didn't put any expectations as to, how not. Don't do that.
I mean, how am I supposed to? I mean, how am I supposed? Should I not smile? I'm just saying. I mean, what?
Okay. Yeah.
Everybody grown, right?
True. But what I'm saying, it was not hard. It was easy. It was easy flowing. I didn't have all this, I got to hold myself.
Yeah.
It was easy. So I don't know, if that would be how other relationships or the dating game would be.
I just think Tigger was like, I'm Tigger.
Right. He ain't lying.
It had a whole other spin, don't it?
Right. He's not lying though. But I think, I mean, not to keep putting things, I guess, in a universal sense of understanding, but I think, more or less when you kind of find the right one or in that relationship for that time or whatever that moment is, it's like you feel it's not going to be too complicated or too hard, and sometimes, well, I mean, I think if it's too complicated or too hard, then you automatically step back.
I mean, with the no part. I agree with you. The complicated and the hard part should not be. But God, it's gonna sound bad. But sometimes you are on the fence. And the longer you do something to take you out of a certain situation, the more difficult sometimes it can be to get back into something, right? You might not have dated in a long time. So you're on the fence about dating in general. And for lack of a better term, a man's persistence and aggressiveness might be the thing to convince you to give him a chance where he might not have, if you stuck to your guns, you might have passed that person up, right? But you let your guard down because he was persistent and he was saying the things that you wanted to hear and he needed to say and that was genuine and all those things. But if you start to your guns because you're like, well, I'm still celibate and it's important, it's like, well, how important is it? Is it important enough for you to walk past someone who might be the person you should not be celibate with? Or how are you weighing that? I can't make that decision for you. It's got to come out of you.
Well, I think then you have that, you have one party who's like, I feel this is for me. And then you have the other party who's saying no, and maybe you're feeling like what Tigger discussed earlier of if that person is hurt or needs some healing, maybe you understand, that this person is hurt. This person has some healing processes that need to go to it. This person is fearful, of it. Let me keep on trying to penetrate, let me keep on trying to get in there and show and love and be that person that the other person may not know that they need.
It's documented. I'm pretty sure it's fact. Because Marvin Gaye talked about sexual healing. So I don't understand what the problem.
Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for the next episode. Again, like, share, and subscribe.